Now we are going to start on a journey which will lead us to that ultimate experience that the soul is seeking. In the first 7 stanzas, we were given an idea, and the idea, basically the central theme, was that you can get there provided you choose the right path, right technique. But every technique that has been given so far, the humans have distorted it so much, turned it around so much, that they have lost their purpose completely. How do we know that? And Gurbani gives you a very simple test, a simple question to ask yourself. If you have been following a certain discipline for a certain amount of time, independent of what that discipline was and where you learned it, and you compare your inner self, the status of the inner self, what is the inner self doing? So the 5 major melodies of the mind-body system, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, the anger, the desires, the greed, the attachments, the aversions. If you look at them within yourself without asking anybody else, without worrying about anybody else, you just very honestly in your own self and say, is it helping me to reduce that? Am I the same angry person I was when I was young? Am I getting more egoistic or less? Is my greed going down or is it increasing? Am I losing more patience with the people, or I'm beginning to be more tolerant? Am I more discriminating and judgmental of the differences in the people, or I am becoming more and more samdarshi? I'm beginning to look at everybody with the same equal. If that equality is reducing, if any one of these things are going in the opposite direction, any one of them, then there's something fundamentally wrong. Not with the technique, but with what you are doing, how you are implementing it. It doesn't matter what that technique is. And that is a fundamental test. I actually was asked this question this weekend, the past weekend. A very dear friend of mine, his son was visiting me, and we have known each other for now, ever since we came to country together 31 years ago. That kid was only about a year old, and now he's married and has his own life and so forth. And he was visiting me, and he asked that question, that I have seen my parents, both of them, father and mother, absolutely religiously stick to a certain discipline the morning and the evening, and they have tried to enforce the same on their children. Not very successfully. The children revolted, but they still have that memory. So he asked me, he said, Uncle, how do I know if it is helping them? Maybe I'm missing the boat. Now I'm beginning to ask myself, I'm myself 32 years old now. And I'm beginning to ask, my parents are still sticking to that discipline. Should I go back to that? And I asked him the same question. I said, do you find your mother and your father getting lesser angry? Do they still fight? Is there still issues? And he says, yeah, actually they are more. And we all explain it away by saying they are getting old. So they're getting more irritated and they're getting less patient and they have no time for the nonsense, and that's why they are doing that. And I said, you answered your question. And now he was totally confused. He said, I don't understand that. What you say makes sense, but what about the discipline? So many years of continuous penance. They get up a certain hour of the morning every day. They spend X number of hours before they do anything. And they come home and they spend X number of hours again in the evening. And no matter come high, high water, that has not changed. That means totally useless. Then why follow such a technique? And I asked him, I said, son, if I play this tape recorder every morning, every evening, is something happening to the tape recorder? He said, no. He said, well, that's exactly what is happening to your parents. They are repeating something, but it has become a complete obligation, a ritual. There is no joy in it. There is no inner urge. They are not looking forward to it. It is something that has to be done. If they don't do it, they feel very guilty. So there is no love and affection associated with this. They are not doing it out of reverence, out of love, out of bhavana. They are doing it out of compulsion. When you do something out of compulsion, Gurbani says, what happens to him? Say, Baddha chatti jo bhare. Look at that. Baddha means under the bondage. Baddha chatti means to give something to someone. What's a chatti? Literally, it's a tax. Nobody wants to pay tax. The Baddha chatti jo bhare. If any action is being done under the bondage, even though that action is what? Giving something. And Gurbani says, na pon, na paropakar. It's neither charity, nor obliging anybody, not a service. Paropakar. It's not a service. If you give somebody something out of pity, you actually have put that person way down here and put yourself way up there. Is that giving out of compassion or pity? Very subtle difference. People get confused that they take the pity and then do the किसी ते तरस आना गल कुछ हो रहा है, किसी का प्यार की भावना जागनी कुछ हो रहा है. So the technique and the way it is to be applied is to be understood very clearly, and today we are going to start on that journey. Guru Nanak in the last 7 stanzas said the people have been following these rituals and they have lost their complete potency. They have become impotent because they are being repeated without understanding. So the very first problem with the human is that they become the doer. Everything I am doing. Because they become the doer, the ego gets associated with it and it destroys everything. So Guru Nanak says, I am going to suggest to you something that is absolutely away from the word I, and he starts with, of the 5 karmendriya, he picks the ear. Now I have hinted at that as to why did he pick the ear. Because you cannot say I am listening. Maybe you can say I am not listening, even though the ears are open and the words are being spoken, and you may not be listening at all. You may be daydreaming, your mind may be totally somewhere else. You can be a hindrance to the listening, but you cannot be a participant in the listening. Now, what is the hindrance? Let us say that you are paying attention to whatever is being said and you are listening. Then the next question is that you listening, or is this your knowledge listening? Now think about that. It's a very subtle point. Whatever are you listening, is this going through the filter of your knowledge or not? Is your brain accessing and endorsing something and rejecting something? Or putting something on the side and say, I'll clarify that later, but it doesn't make sense to me right now. So what is the mind doing right now? As I am speaking from all of us, it's true from all of us, that the information that has been collected up till now in your mind-body system, regardless of the source of that information, whether it came from the parents, the society, the education system, or you read somewhere in the books, it doesn't matter where it came from, what the source was. But every word and every sentence is passing through that filter, and three things are happening to it. This I agree with, this I don't, this I'm not sure, I need to think about it or clarify it. Nothing is going directly without that filter. Nothing is passing through directly. Now, that type of listening is very important when you are dealing with the outer world. You don't want to be gullible, right? You don't want to accept everything that somebody says. In the outer world, it is very important that you do that. But in the inner world, it is absolutely useless, because if you are gone to a teacher, a master, a guru, as we are all sitting here in front of Guru Granth Sahib, and Guru Granth Sahib is trying to tell us something, and it isn't going anywhere with us. We are sitting here analyzing, and when that analysis is going through, is also, yeah, okay, no, not really. It is not going straight to the heart. It's not becoming a seed directly. So Guru, and why it's not? Now listening and speaking is taking place at the same time. The mind, the intellect inside is talking, is chattering, is speaking, and the ears are listening. Two things cannot happen simultaneously. Even physically, try talking and listening at the same time. When I went to my classical teacher, music teacher for the first time, that was the first statement he told me. He said, son, when the mouth opens, the ears always shut down. And for learning, it's important that the ears stay open. What a statement. For learning, it is important that the ears stay open. So, as soon as the mouth opens, the ears automatically shut down. That's the law of nature. Isn't it? What happens to us when we are particularly in a discussion group, conversation, how eager we are to say something. Before even somebody finishes the sentence, we pick them right in the middle. But wait a minute, I have to say something. There is no patience even to let the other finish the thought. That's how much urgency is for me to say something. I want to, please, I want to. Where is that coming from? That the inside is already talking. The ears stopped listening way back. And you are already formulating the words that you're going to say. And that's an inner chatter. That's an inner noise. And Guru Nanak says, therein lies the problem. As long as there is an inner dialogue of any sort about what you are listening or what you are not listening, maybe you are expecting the speaker to say something that will jive with what your thinking is, and he's not saying, and you're anxious. When would he say that? Come on, say this. And it doesn't come. So the mind is into that anticipation because it wants to listen to that. And those words are exactly not coming out. And the mind keeps on waiting. In the meantime, whatever is said is lost, is gone. So Gurbani says, pay attention to the listening, effective listening. Is the inner noise going on? If the answer is yes, then you haven't listened. And the day you are able to have that effective listening, the prerequisite is that the inner chatter will have to shut down. The chatter of every type, every kind. No exception to that rule. No matter how holy that chatter is, that chatter may be thinking of Guru Nanak itself. That chatter may be thinking of God itself. If you are sitting in front of a master and the master is saying something and you are saying, okay, I'm sitting in front but I'm meditating on him, then whatever he has said is gone. You may be thinking you are doing something better. Well, if you wanted to do something better, don't come to the master. Do something better somewhere else. So Guru Nanak has picked up the ear for that reason. That it has, the whole effective listening has nothing to do with your training about the language, the words, the meaning, or anything else. It is an absolute misunderstanding of the human race. Oh my God, I don't understand, hence I cannot do anything. Oh my God, I'm not educated enough. I'm not learned enough. Kabir never went to any university. Farid never went to a school. Guru Nanak never went to a college. But they knew how to shut down the inner chatter, the inner talk. If the inner talk is going on, nothing will be heard. And since nothing will be heard, it will become intellectual concept. So now, ponder about this point, that if the inner noise completely shuts down, then whatever you are hearing is the sound of the ultimate creator. That's what the naad is. When the inner noise shuts down, you start hearing the soundless sound. And Guru Nanak says, if that was possible, then all of this is possible. Sunaya Siddh Peer Suranath. No, Siddh Peer Suranath. The words literally mean, Siddh means the one who has conquered a particular Karam Indriya or Gyan Indriya and has developed a superpower about it. You know, Riddhiya Siddhiya ke. So these people used to do miracles because they have conquered or overcome or mastered a particular technique. Siddh kar lena. Peer, again the person who has achieved something. Sur Nath, the one, Nath means Nathana, to control, Nath Palana. Nath pai jandi si. And if you put something and to take somebody in a particular direction, the most delicate part of the body is to put something in the nose. Nakale. So every animal that they needed to be guided, they will run a hole through it and put a nakale through it. And the female population in our country find this as an ornament. That became an ornament. Actually, it was meant for symbolism that the man has her under control. The Naktinath Pagar here. Kuwari Nath nahi si pai jandi. Only married was allowed to do that. Me? Again, it was the same idea, but that's a separate thing. Nath, the one who has controlled. Sunaya Siddh Pir Sunath. What has he controlled? He has a control over his karma indriya, his jnana indriya. They are under control. From the surface of it, this statement is absolutely looks ridiculous. But when you go deeper into it, it is an eternal truth. That if the kind of listening, if the proper use of the ear has been developed, meaning thereby, when you are listening, you know how to shut down the inner noise of the mind. To which Farid had said, Aaj milawa Sheikh Farid, takkam kunjadiyan manoma chandadiyan. So you can actually experience the blissfulness of the ultimate creation right now, at this moment. Aaj milawa. You can see that right now. You can meet him right now. No delay provided. Takkam kunjadiyan. Takkam means to stop. Kunjadiya means the thought processes, which are mind running around. Manomachandadiya, the one they have created the noise inside you so much. If you can shut that noise down, you can hear the ultimate sound right now. What a bold promise. It's a similar promise Guru Nanak is making here today. He says, if you have learned to shut down that and listen properly of that real word, then Sunaya Dharta Dhaval Akash, you can know the secrets of the land, the air, and below the earth, up the earth. Dhaval Akash. Dharat, surface, Dhaval, below, Akash, above. Those secrets will be known to you. Jo Brahmande, Soi Pinde, Jo Khoje So Pave. Whatever is happening outside, you can see all of that. You can know all of that. Sune deep loho patal, sune poho na sakke kal. The secrets of galaxies. Deep, low, patal. Secret of galaxies. Poho na sakke kal. The feeling of timelessness. What is the feeling of timelessness? How do we perceive time? Our inner clock is different than our outer clock. Outer clock is man-made. Inner clock is the Creator's gift to us. The inner clock speeds up when we are blissful, happy. It slows down when we are in pain. But when we are beyond pain and pleasure, time disappears. There's no more concept of time. Pohona sakeka. Pohona means to touch. Then show nahi sakda. Why? Because the thought process requires time. What is a thought? It's a journey of an idea from start to the finish. It's a distance traveled. Time requires. Thought requires time. So when the thought stops, the inner noise stops, then the concept of time disappears. And say that is why Nanak Bhakta Sada Vegas. That is the reason. That's the secret of a bhagat, a saint, a meditator, who's always in a blissful mood, vigas. Eternal, all-powerful, ever-pervading, a peace and quiet. Now remember, this is not a word happiness. It's not a saying that वो हमेशा खुश रहते हैं. Vigas. It's a different quality. It's neither खुश nor gum, neither happy nor not happy. It is that contentment in that is what it is. There is no complaint. At the same time, there is no celebration. Because both again are positive and negative. This is a feeling of it is the way it is. And I am completely at peace, contented with that state of being, means the way it is. No need, no desire, no want, no urge to make something different, to change it. Which is the basic human malady, human sickness. Whatever it is should not be. Each one of us have that in us. Whatever is should change. This is not right. This is not good. It doesn't matter what we look at. Every day, every moment, we do not catch ourselves and stop and say, whatever is, and it is okay. At the most we can say, well, उसकी मर्जी है, क्या करें, बर्दाश्त तो करना ही पड़ेगा. See? There is a helplessness in it. There is not acceptance. In that feeling, there is a helplessness. अब क्या करें, हो तो गया. I'm not okay with it, but I have no power to change it. That is the feeling we expressed. Because if I had my druthers, if I had my preference, I would have changed the outcome. I would have wanted it to be something different. And then the fundamental question, well, shouldn't we? Well, the question would be, if you change it for yourself, what is happening to the other? Is it equally good for everybody in the universe that you... Because that's not the law of nature. Something that's happening today, this country, this land, consists of 260 some plus million people out of the 6 billion. They are, how small they are in terms of the population, but they are consuming, we are part of that consumption growth, more than 35% of the total resources of this planet. We are less than 25% of the total population. Not 25%, actually 2%, 3%. Yeah. We are about 3% of the total population, consuming 35% of the resources. So you can, it begs a fundamental question. Well, shouldn't I be doing it? Of course you can do it. But what is it doing to the rest of the world? If I have my brothers, I'll make them America the richest. Okay, fine, that's nice. Make them the richest. Let them have all the luxuries of life. What's happening to the rest of the planet? Now that's at a macro level. Well, let's talk of the micro level. Let's talk of our family level. As a family member, I want to have the best. Should I desire that as a kid? Of course you should desire that as a kid. Well, what happens to a sibling? Is he or she also getting the same? Would you not be encroaching upon somebody else's right? Anytime there is a desire of saying it should not be the way it is, it's telling the Creator, you are wrong as far as I am concerned. You may be right over there because you are doing that he deserves it. But I certainly don't. And therein lies the problem. He says, Bhagat do not have that behavior. What's his behavior? Nanak Bhakta Sada Vigas. He's in that state of being which says whatever is perfectly okay. I don't want to change anything. And I have no addition to make, no subtraction to make. I am okay the way it is. And when you reach that stage, what happens? That says, Sunay dukh paap ka nash. Now, that statement is a very pregnant statement. It does not mean that the Bhagat does not go through that positive and negative. No, he has gone beyond. It keeps on happening around them. Dukh bhi aanda, sukh bhi aanda, changa bhi hota, mada bhi hota. Sunay dukh paap ka nash. It does not mean that they are gone. What's happening is the observer, that entity which was discriminating and enjoying the positive and not enjoying the negative, that entity disappeared. The noise is gone. The mind is not there. The mind with the chatter that was there is not there. That's what happened to a Bhagat. He has quieted down that. Sunayan dukh paap ka nash. Sunaya, Isar, Burma, Ind. Now look, Guru Nanak is going to hammer at this thought so heavily. 4 stanzas only on that topic. So far it was 1, 1, 1, 1. He has repeated this thought 4 times. So from 9, the 8th to 11, he's going to talk about only 8th stanza, 9th, 10th and 11th are going to only talk about effective listening. Look at how much importance is given. Let's try it. Who do you call somebody healthy? Who is perfectly healthy? See that? The very first thought will come, who is not sick? But that you define sickness, you didn't define health. Health comes from whole. Whole means the body is complete. It is in perfect balance with all the 5 natural elements given to thee. When they are in perfect balance, you are healthy. The word disease comes from dis-ease. You are not at ease because one of the element is out of balance. And that element will be not at ease with itself. Hence it has diseased. And all you do is balance it back. And Guru Nanak says, if you really could shut out the inner noise, the way it's supposed to be shut down, and put all of the karma and the knowledge and everything on the side and learn to listen directly, you will have this automatically given to you. Jog Jugal Tan Ped, Sunaya Sast Simrat Ved. All of the knowledge of the Vedas will be revealed to you. Why? Because that knowledge came from those who had done this, who had gotten that stage. You see, when we say Raman could recite all of the 4 Vedas, and then what else we say? Usne waqt nu apne paaye na banne hoya si. Isn't it? Usne time nu apne paaye na banne hoya si. Meaning what? A parable saying that he had transcended the effect of time. He was such a meditator that he knew how to shut down the inner noise. Out of that, all of the awareness of Vedas came to him. He was one of the most documented, renowned Gyata of Vedas knowledge. As a matter of fact, that's what happened when he is on the last breath and the Rama tells Lakshmana to go to him and seek his counsel. And then he makes a mistake and goes and stands on the head side. And Rama again chides him and says, that's not how you go to a Brahman. He's a Brahman. He knows all the 4 Vedas. So go to his feet side. Same mistake Arjuna made. That when he went to Krishna, he went on the head side. And Duryodhana went there. Yeah. So the idea is that when he wakes up, he should be able to see you first, and the only way he can see you first is if you're standing on the feet side. Yeah. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that the awareness of that as to what the really meant not came because he studied all 4 of them. No, it came because he meditated and has achieved to the state where the inner noise of the mind can be shut down and the timelessness was experienced by him. सुने सत संतोष ज्ञान, सुने 68 का स्नान. Now here, that's a test, literally. If you know the effective listening, then your lifestyle is going to become automatically. The two cannot be, one cannot exist without the other. The life will follow the pattern of Sat and Santokh. Sat means the truth, Santokh means contentment. What it is. And Gyan means the awareness, not the knowledge but the knowing. It will come. Sunye 68 ka isnan. 68 means 68 Tirth, 68 places of worship. But that's not what he's talking about. If you start meditating, you get to a stage, you will find that there are 29 knots in the front part of the body and there are 29s on the back part of the body. And as the energy travels, it will be removing all those knots. 29 is 58, and 5 and 5, that's 68 Tirth within your body. But the interesting thing is that Guru Nanak does acknowledge the fact that there was a ritual at that time. The people should go and take bath at 68 different sites. And if it was done right, there will be some advantage to the soul's evolution. But it very quickly lost meaning. People forgot as to what this means. So he says, forget about the outer now. You have a equivalent inner. And if you learned to shut down the mind, in the process of shutting down the mind, you would have gone through those stages automatically. सुने 68 का स्नान, सुने पढ़ पावे मान, सुने लागे सहज ध्यान. Now this is again translated very, very simplistically in the books. सुने पढ़ पावे मान. N is highlighted, underlined. Man doesn't mean that you get satkar, respect from the outside world. Because the outer world has already been negated. This man means that you will start rising into his realm. You're getting closer to that. O man mil raha hai, not the world. Suniye, pad paave man. As you get closer and closer and closer, your evolution is taking place higher and higher, and you're getting closer to him. And then, Sunaya lage sahid dhyan. You can, then the dhyan, which is the third stage. The first stage, japana. Second stage, simrana. First you chant. Then you put it on the autopilot, simrana. Then you go into dhyan, where you are listening from the inner. Then you go to samadhi. where complete the word drops, everything drops. He says that you can get to the stage of dhyan, sahaj, because they are simultaneously. If they shut down the noise, you're automatically into a sahaj avastha, automatically into a dhyan avastha. And the last, सुने सरा गुना के गहा, सुने शेख पीर पातशाह, सुने अंधे पावे राह, सुने हाथ होवे अस गहा, नानक भक्ता सदा विगास, सुने धूप आपका नाश. He says, सने सरा गुना के गाहा, the highest mountain was called Meru Parbat, Mer Parbat. In our country it is Himalaya now. But basically it's saying that the secret of the highest mountain would be known to you. In other words, the secret of the land, secret of the water, secret of the air, secret of the akash, they all combine, they all come to you. सुने सरा गुणा के गाह मिल जानी, उसका पता लग जाना, सीक्रेट खुल जाना. सुने शेख पीर पातशाह. Then these stages, सुने sheikh. Who was a sheikh in Islam? Sheikh लेना, जिस तरह नाथ लेना, to control, put a nakel into the, is sheikh का मतलब है control कर लेना. That's the Islamic side of it. So he's saying basically the same thing. सुने शेख पीर पातशाह. You would, no, Padshah doesn't mean that you'll become a Badshah or a king. To this, learn to listen. Let it go straight. Get yourself out of the way. Quiet your mind. When you are listening to metaphysical or spiritual things, get your own judgment out of the way. Stop becoming discriminating. This is not the place to, because these are eternal truths. There's nothing that you can improve upon. You cannot modify that. Your commentary will do nothing to it. It is the way it is. So get yourself out of the way. No, but if I did that, what happens to my ego? That's a very humbling experience. I don't want to go through. If anything, I want my ego to go up and say, I understand this. Isn't it? Hey, nobody understands how to listen properly. I understand it. Well, okay. The test of the understanding is, do you listen? Because the day you listen, what will happen? Sunaya, Isar, Brahma, Ind. These are the three mythological gods. Isar, Brahma. Just to say, we had named three gods of creation, sustenance and destruction. So it's mentioning Vishnu, Ishar, Vishnu, Brahma. We consider the Vishnu to be the sustainer, Brahma to be the creator, and Shiva to be the destroyer. Those are symbolic names given to the energy in the Hindu theosophy. Guru Nanak says that you will know the secret of all of this. Brahma, Ind. Indra is considered to be the god of rain, water. Sunay Mukh Salahan Mand. It's the literal translation ki jandi hai that when you listen to the Gurbani, then the bad people also become good people. I have found exactly the opposite. I found those who listen so much, they actually listen and that's it. And then they go back to the outer world and they are some of the hardest hearts. No, that does not mean. Sunaya mukh salahan mand. Because the inner chatter is shut down, then the only thing that will come out of the mouth would be his prayer, not the other thing, that is mand. Mukh salahan. Mand nu band karke mukh salahan lag paida hai. Because that thing is gone completely, the one that was doing the negative energy that was attached. So Gurbani says, once that chatter goes away, then nothing is but mukh salahan. Nothing except his praise. The total surrendering, total awe of the creation. Suniye mukh salahan mand. Suniye jog jugat tan ped. This is a very common question that is asked. That when the medical sciences weren't evolved to this level, when the surgical techniques weren't evolved, how did they know what part of the body does what? And how did they know how to treat it? Ayurvedic and Unani and all of those things that came before the modern medical science actually could document every organ and the blood flows and the nerve endings. How did they know? Here is the answer. Sunaya jog jugat tan bhed. Because the consciousness now is not outward. It actually is inward. You can literally travel through your own body and know everything that's going on inside you. That's how they knew it. Actually, that's one of the meditative techniques. In the Zenism, they will ask you, are you eating? Say, yeah, then just eat. And the people get confused. What do you mean just eat? So now stay with your food. Do you know how you're chewing? Can you go along with as it's swallowing? Is your consciousness going with your food as it's getting assimilated into the stomach? How many things are going to happen to that food? Part of it is going to become blood, part of it is going to become your nails, part is going to be your hair, part is going to become bone, part is going to muscle, part is going to be rejected. Are you aware of all that's going on? So then focus on, when you're eating, focus on the eating only. When you're drinking, just drink. And that becomes meditation. Meaning what? Because the mind, since it is chattering and talking, it doesn't even know how to eat properly or drink properly, much less listen properly. Just say, he says the secret of bhed, secret of the body would be immediately known to you because you can now, because the inner noise is shut down, mind is inward, you can actually focus on any one of your organs and say, what is it doing? Is there a problem here? How would you know there is a problem? Very simple test. Because body consists of the 5 elements in a specific proportion. If any one of the proportion is upset, that particular organ is going to be in trouble. By just knowing which organ is not getting one of the 5 elements in, or which is imbalanced, you will know that there is a problem. That's how they knew all the maladies. So when we go to the allopathic, what does the allopathy do? They also say, okay, you are short of this particular enzyme, this chemical, this vitamins, this, take this medicine. And that medicine then balances the 5 elements. That's it. The health word comes from whole. You cannot define health, by the way. You can define sickness, but you cannot define health. What is a Pacha? Pacha conquers the outside world. A king conquers the outside. Right? A Bhagat conquers the inside. So you are a king in your own right because you have conquered, you have overcome the outside. You have conquered the inside. Sunaya Sheikh Pir Pacha, Sunaya Andhe Pave Raha. they translate that the blind can actually see. No, that's not what it's saying. The blind here is not the one who's blind of eyes. The blind is the one who is agyani, that who doesn't know, who doesn't see the secret, the inner secret. And if he knew how to use the ear effectively, all those secrets will be revealed to him. Sune hath ove asgaha. In the olden days, the measurement of length was with the hand. Itne hath. And asgaha means something that cannot be measured. So he's basically talking of the ocean. He says, hath ove asgaha. You'll be able to know which is considered to be unknowable, unmeasurable. Nanak bhakta sada vigas sunay dukh pap ka nas. He says that this stage, this level is available to the bhagat. And he's not putting any qualification on who can be bhagat and who cannot be bhagat. Because he started right from the beginning saying, ja. Start that. It doesn't matter who does. How he does it, start. And what will happen? Jap diya. It will become simarna. It is the simarna that turns into dhyan. When it gets to the dhyan, at that moment the listening becomes effective. Because the inner noise shuts down. Actually, he will now take this and get to a stage, talk about the one who has achieved this. And the next 4 stanzas will be about the one who has actually learned to listen effectively. The one who has shut down the noise. Not the outer, not an intellectual understanding, not a discussion point, but in reality, in practice, not in just theory, has put in the effort. Jinni naam dhyaya gaye mashakkat ghal. Mashakkat means a effort which is not easy to do. Mashakkat. Ghalana. To work at it with the idea of pleasure, with the idea of enjoyment, with the idea of blissfulness, not as a punishment. Because, oh my God, I have to, because Guru told me, so I have to now get up, and I don't feel like getting up today, and my bones hurt, and my mind doesn't like it, but I have to do it anyway, so, oh my God. If it becomes punishment, you ain't getting there. Then you will go through the ritual, no question about it. And you'll be able to put a tick mark on that day that I did it today. But that's what it will be it. And that's what is happening to the majority of the world. Because you can ask yourself a fundamental question and say, if the listening is so important, I have been going to my temple, to my mandir, to my gurdwara, to my church, to my mosque, and I have been listening to this scripture all my life. As a matter of fact, in my car I am playing the same thing. In my home it is the same thing. The words never shut down. I'm constantly surrounded. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that there are people here today. I mean, you can go to any one of the Gurdwara in India. Go to Golden Temple. And there are people over there whose job is, that's it, that's all they do. Get up 2 o'clock in the morning, go to the center, go to the building and start, and they do not do anything else till they come out. 17 hours of non-stop kirtan going on in that building. And they stay there. Get up in the morning and come there and then go straight home. I have not found a single one of them becoming a Brahmgyani. You can ask those people who come here and visit us and then I have a 8 o'clock kirtan here and then drive me to the next one at 10 o'clock and then somebody's home and then I have to come back to Gurdwara at 12 o'clock in Gurdwara and then I'm going evening somewhere also. They do 4 or 5 functions in a single day. And then you sit down and talk to them and find out the quality of their talk, words, lifestyle, meaning, anything. And you wonder, ये क्या हो रहा है? मैं नदिया फिर भी मैं प्यासी, भेद ये गहरा भाव जरा सी. How is it? They are telling us that by listening I can become this. What about themselves? What's going on there? So, Guru Nanak is hammering at the thought. First thing, so long as you are a doer, no matter what you do, is not going to bring the benefit. Secondly, if you have not understood and you are taking it as a punishment, a penance, a tapascharya, which is actually becoming a punishment for you rather than something that you enjoy, something that you look forward to, something there is a reverence. That's why this thing came up, that the place where I meditate, and you can take a little corner of your home and every day sit down and do just there, and you will certainly find after a few days that particular corner will start being charged with some energy. And then you say, don't go there, don't do this, don't take the shoes, don't do. What does that mean? Now, if you don't go there because I do it there, it's finished. But don't disturb the energy, and you have that love and reverence for that energy. It's a totally different quality. And Guru Nanak says, understand that secret. See that difference. See that subtlety. So what happened from us, rather than with that reverence, see, when somebody in India, in Punjab, will say, मैं इत्थे पोचा फेर के फिर बैठना, जगह नो धो के फिर बैठना. What does that mean? There is a certain love oozing out of that. But if it is a ritual, then Guru Nanak says, दे के चौका कड्डी कार ऊपर आए बैठे कुड़िया. What happened? चौका मारे है, पानी पी रहे, right? Cleaned it up, dusted it, vacuumed it, everything. But did it as a ritual, as a punishment. Why? Because my father told me, before you sit down here, you must vacuum it. But I have no reverence, no love, no affection, no desire coming out of me. Hence the quality of that doing, it is a dead repetition like mechanical robot. You could have put in a mechanical robot there, would have done a better job. And that's what today's lesson is, that if you had learned only to use the ear properly, all other meditations would be unnecessary. You would be on the Sahaj Avastha, you will be on the Sahaj Marg. So may He give us the courage and desire and the honesty, until we recognize and acknowledge within our own self that no, we are not there yet. The process won't start. So the first thing is that acknowledgement. And once that acknowledgement comes, the next stage automatically follows. So with that we will conclude the talk today. And we have covered from the 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th.